Welcome back to Ben and Mike's Film Room. And we just watched Iron Man 2.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people don't like this one, but I mean, other than the silly villain design,
Well,
it's actually pretty great. There's a lot of good elements, like
yeah.
Iron Man has a really
like,
interesting character arc, some cool stuff happens. It doesn't really make a ton of sense, but the cool stuff happens. I had a good time.
like when you look through online or on YouTube or whatever, you always see this and Incredible Hulk and like Thor 2 on the bottom of the list. Now we haven't gotten to Thor 2, so that's not very fresh in our memories. But like I assume this is on most people's bottom lists because the first Iron Man was just so good, in their eyes, Me, honestly, I think it was just okay. Like, not
The
that
first one?
yes,
The first one was just okay.
in my okay, let me okay,
I cannot exhale more firmly.
okay. I'm not saying that it's bad. It's just
Okay.
like it's hard. It's hard to rewatch movies. Okay, it's a long period of time you have to set aside. It's not like a TV show where you can convince yourself to continue watching for hours on end.
I guess. I mean, and some movies are not as rewatchable as some. I mean, this with Iron Man, you know exactly what's going to happen the whole time.
Well, you do with most movies after you've seen them once.
After you've seen it once, there's no twist, there's no extra things to notice or whatever. But with Iron Man 2, I had forgotten a lot of the details. Like, I remember the bird, Boyd. The Boyd.
The Boyd?
Boyd. Bird. How do you say it?
I want my bird.
Boyd.
Bird.
Boyd.
Bird.
Boyd.
Bird.
Bird. That's what I remember.
Okay. Well,
I
fair
remember
enough.
the thing about the bird and
Like,
the part in the river, and that was it. The boss, yeah, there were so many little shortcuts they took they almost told a fabulous story, and instead they were trying to do so many things at once, they kind of undercut the value of their own movie.
yeah. Like, I said this to you multiple times. Like, this is I know they're two different movies, but holy crap, this movie is so much better than The Incredible Hulk.
That's true. Every couple of minutes you're like, this was way better than the Incredible Hulk.
Like,
Even right now, way better than the Hulk.
and
Like, yeah.
yeah, what I was saying, but back to what I was saying about people love the first Iron Man, and I'm not going to say it's bad or I think it's average. I think many parts of it are good, but for me, it's just not as rewatchable. For me personally, now, for many people, this is on their lower end of their list because it might have been seen as a letdown, so to speak.
Well,
A letdown, and plus, I don't know, like, to me, I actually really enjoyed myself with this movie.
Well, this is also one of those special in your place nostalgia trips, though, for
Yes.
you, Michael, because you've seen it like a million times when you were younger.
Yes. And mini story, when this came out on DVD, I was actually grounded that week.
Okay.
And I convinced our mom, to buy the DVD, and I just had it in my drawer. Just having the DVD,
Did you
waiting.
even watch it?
No, because I was
Oh,
grounded
I
that
thought
week from
Oh, yeah,
screens
yeah,
and
makes
everything.
sense.
And it was also conference that week.
Oh, I see.
But so yeah, as a child, you like to rewatch this. You like to rewatch things. My niece, your daughter, has watched Gravity Falls. I don't know how many times all the way through.
And let's not even talk about Henry and Moana.
Oh yeah,
He's watched that movie like literally 300 times.
yeah. So for some reason I watched Iron Man 2 a lot. I don't know what made that different. I don't know why. Maybe it was because I got it when I was grounded.
Well, everybody has a thing, but I have to say, the movie was pretty good. I think it starts off really, really strong with the palladium poisoning, and you're like, ooh, I hadn't even thought of that. That's what? And
Yeah, because I think everything with Tony, personally, works. You know? The alcoholism mixed with him kind of dying, at the same time. You know.
Well, I don't know. It's
But,
only... yeah.
Ivan Vonko, I think his name?
Yeah, Vonko?
Ivan Vonko. And MC Hammer, what's his name? Army Hammer, I think it is, maybe?
Oh, Hammer. Yeah, Justin Hammer?
Justin Hammer, yeah. RC Hammer.
Hammer Weapons or whatever.
Also disappointed, he runs this company, appropriately named Hammer Industries or something. Very disappointed no one ever said, it's Hammer time.
It was...
Not even in one of Iron Man's drunken stupors.
Yeah, kind of a missed opportunity there, but also,
it would have been.
Are you allowed to say it? I mean, aren't there licensing issues to consider? I mean, do we want MC Hammer to be Justin Hammer?
I think we
would that have improved the movie? Yes,
dramatically. And it would have been his greatest role to date.
It would have been even funnier if they had him in it and didn't ever talk about it.
Oh, and like the fact that Elon Musk was in this film?
Oh man, I totally forgotten about that.
I didn't even know!
I had cracked that was the joke, and then he stood up. I was like, hey, there he is in Monaco during the racing scene. Like right when they're trying to find a table, they just talk to the real life Tony Stark.
Yeah, and I had no idea. That was a weird surprise. It was just like how in Incredible Hulk, the Betty Ross's boyfriend was Modern Family dad.
Yeah.
2 weird cameos in a row. That's weird.
I don't think that's gonna stop. So
really,
so my main issue with the movie was it was doing 3 things at once, and it didn't do any of them enough to really make the movie good. So the first thing it did...
Yeah, off the top of my head, I can think of 2 things.
Yes.
But yeah, what?
So the main one I'll say for the end, but the first one is the palladium poisoning. They talk about it, they kind of dance around it, but we feel no emotional pressure from Tony, except for maybe the birthday party event. Everything else, there's no looks of concern when other people are around. I mean, he does hide things when Pepper comes in, but not enough is there. I don't feel enough weight. And the conversation they have is kind of just dismissive about, hey, I was totally dying. You're dying? Why didn't you tell me you were dying? Yeah. Now you're mad at me because I'm dying? I was dying.
Now you're mad at me because I'm not dying?
Yeah, so, and then the second thing is, this is a more subtle thing, but with you being dying, and with Tony Stark in the first movie, everyone's upset at him for doing the exact same things he's always done, which is be unpredictable and uncontained and unstoppable, and they're like, oh, how dare you, you're really stressing us out, we're trying to run a company here. He's like, I've been doing this my whole life. It's probably because he murdered the main dude who actually ran the company, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. How much time happened between 2 and 6 months, right?
Yes, 6 months.
Was that 6 months
after Iron Man 1?
Yeah. So
technically, first off, this movie then technically takes place in 2010, I believe. They said in the timeline that this and Iron Man 1 take place in 2010.
I see.
Even though I don't think I mentioned this in the first Iron Man review talk about. He had this weird Verizon flip phone, but it wasn't a flip phone. It's something that you'd probably slide up and then turn.
Yeah, the screen pivoted.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Now it's just a piece of glass, like all future tech.
Yeah, he really improved in 6 months.
Yes.
Really upped his carrier.
Well, that was in
6 months.
The desert of the Middle East.
Yes.
So he probably brought a more durable device. Is my explanation for that. So my third and final thing that I thought the movie was trying to do way too hard, and
the alcoholism?
No, the alcoholism was because it was his birthday. He thought he was going to die soon. He might as well do everything he wanted. The thing I thought was the super heavy-handed universe connection stuff. So the first two movies, there was like zero.
Yeah,
because they had no idea it was coming. But then this third one, they said, "Oh, we better connect this to Thor.
Well, people
better connect it to Thor. Thor. I was like, what is happening? And they do the Captain America shield garbage. bit.
That. Well, first off, I'd like to say that one, when the first Iron Man came out, Iron Man was like a C-list character, like C-list in the wider scope of, the world in. Like,
yeah, when you think when you go on the street and say name superheroes.
Yeah, if you go back to like 2000, like the year 2000, what superheroes can you name? Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. Those are the three main ones that come up.
I mean, you get
Hulk.
like Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Wonder Woman.
Captain America, probably.
Surprisingly, DC ruled the world back then, before the movies.
Well, their comics are still really, really good.
Have you read any?
Yeah, I read The Flash.
You readed?
I read the 52, and I haven't stayed.
There's an animated Flash movie that I have.
I'll be interested. But anyway.
Yes. Sorry, we got too conversational of ourselves.
So the Iron Man was kind of an obscure character for the populace.
Now, people like to say... Yes, it was. But then it came out, it blew everyone away. And, like, one, Robert Downey Jr., born to be Iron Man, not that weird... You know what? Weird piece of trivia. He was one of the villains in the Tim Allen Shaggy Dog film.
Was he like evil businessman villain?
Yeah, sort of. Eventually he started turning into a dog. He eventually jumped over some courtroom, this place where you sit. And he... No
way!
Yes, he did.
I gotta Google that after this.
Everything pre-goatee, Robert Downey Jr., terrible.
I have to admit, I still don't like the style of his goatee.
Yeah.
In these movies. It's like...
Do you ever like them?
I don't know. Based on how it is, I don't even remember what it looks like. It's very forgettable in modern, so it must be less distracting. I don't know. So,
what?
I thought the movie did all the fun things. Like, it did good things. I loved the element. I loved the collider, or it was like
he built his own like...
I think what he was trying to do, it wasn't a collider. I thought it was, and I thought that, but it's pretty much like just a laser. It was just trying to build a strong enough laser.
Because as we know, lasers always go in a curve.
Well, that's why he had the prism at the end to shoot it in the particles that would transform into the super heavy whatever it was, with no name. They could have called it anything. They could have taken a second to give it a name.
Unobtainium.
No, not unobtainium, because this little rock sells for $5 million a kilo. Is that right?
No, 20 million a kilo.
20 million?
Yep.
Why is he holding some on his desk? That's $20 million.
Because there's no Walmart there or whatever to spend it.
That's $20 million. Somebody takes that tiny rock and puts that in their pocket.
Okay.
In 15 years, they'll be very rich.
Slight tangent. Please bear with us. Well, dude, it took 5 years at like a quarter of light speed. Not even a quarter, probably half.
Totally go home after I took that rock. They would never find you.
I'm sure. Okay.
Because they can't be like, oh, it's certainly the people who left on this trip 5 years ago.
I'm sure when we... Okay. Back to Iron Man 2. We'll get to Avatar when the sequel for that comes out.
If it ever does.
Shut up. It's happening.
I liked the first one.
It's happening!
Sort of. I watched it too many times, but I had a good time.
Okay. Your wife watched it too many times, and you were there.
I was there.
Yep,
yes.
You did not.
I also like Space Pocahontas.
Yes. Space Fern Gully.
Ooh.
Anyway.
They attack the wolves.
So where were we? Yeah, you liked all the stuff.
I thought it just didn't do it as well as it could have because it was busy doing all 5, 6, 7 things it was trying to do at once. Like, you're trying to see zany Tony Stark, you're trying to see Pepper become more of a character, you're trying to see more cool suit stuff, you're trying to see... sadly, we had no time for bad guy.
Yeah.
Almost none.
Like...
What do we know about that guy?
His dad... Okay.
Died?
No. I think his dad... Tony Stark's dad, uh, he worked with him, the
For
villain
the
villain
reactor,
villain
right?
dad for the reactor or something, and he wanted to, instead of giving it to the world or something, I can't remember what Howard Stark's motivation was, but bad guy's dad motivation was sell it, to anyone, I think. And when he found that out, for some reason, that was enough to deport him or something.
I think that was just the start, or the
Maybe
straw that broke the camel's back situation.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it seemed like what it really. Are we saying Howard Stark? Howard, right?
Yeah, Howard Stark.
Howard Stark is on the moral high ground for not wanting to sell something. What is the deal with like the weirdness of intellectual property ownership?
Yeah,
in
also,
these?
he knew about a secret element that he just didn't say to anyone.
Well, he had research, but he
Also,
didn't
how did
have
he
any
know
way.
his son? How did he know his son was gonna figure out that? Oh, I know you'll be able to find out how to make a new element, son.
By
because-
looking at this model.
because I love you.
Hey, you know what? He was. He never
The
hugged him.
power of love.
Yeah.
Can we get
I don't.
are copy strikes a thing on iTunes? I don't know.
I think it's pretty hard to tease out. If you reference a thing that is different, there's some fair use.
Okay. Anyway,
You can talk about something like we're doing right now.
we'll never put on clips because we are lazy.
I don't want to say never.
Okay, we will never
Anywho.
say never. Okay, everybody.
That's what Justin Bieber taught me.
Yep, only him.
So,
He's the greatest teacher.
so let's talk about the villains.
Yeah,
Villains?
kind of villains.
I want to say there's a lot of villains in this movie. It's
villain-
almost all villains, as a matter of fact. I want to say villains include obvious tattoo finger man, Ivan Vanko.
Ivan Vanko, MC
We got-
Hammer,
We got MC Hammer.
Ivan
We've
Vanko,
got
Ivan Vanko,
the
and
military.
and I
who
think
is okay
Elon
with-
Musk. I think Elon Musk is the villain in
Well,
there somewhere.
definitely Senator Yucky Face.
Yeah, senator person who eventually turns out to be. Can I say it? Can I can I say the spoiler for Winter Soldier? He eventually turns out to be Hydra. If you don't remember.
I didn't remember that. I mean, it makes sense because I hate that guy.
Yes, that's why we hate him, because he's a Nazi.
Well, in this one,
Even though
he's making a very reasonable claim, like he's being slimy.
Well, I
But
don't
he's
think-
saying, "Hey, you have a very powerful weapon, and we want to steal it from you." And he's like, "No, this is my private property, and you can't." He's like, "But they should have gone down some other venues, like you're violating international air traffic laws, you're doing this and that and this," and they didn't touch any of that.
Now-
They're just like, "The weapon is dangerous. It's a dangerous
Well-
weapon." I know that simplifies the.
You're right.
the
And if
story
this
and
was
the
real life,
court case,
that would
but-
definitely be a thing. He would definitely be imprisoned alone, probably.
Yeah, at least, I mean, you probably would confiscate his equipment, but
But also,
you can't be forced to surrender technology
really,
that's
even
your own
if
personal property.
well, also, he has projectiles. He has weapons that he himself has made, and is it? I don't.
I mean,
And I feel like if you can, hypothetically, if you made your own gun, I don't think that's technically street legal.
it's
Even
true
though
or
guns
not.
aren't technically, you know what I mean, though.
Yes.
Like you can't make your own weapons. If you
Well-
saw a AR-15 in half, it's then a sawed-off.
There's a
Literally.
there's a particular piece in a gun that is the definition of the gun.
that
piece-
makes it legal.
That's what identifies it like because of complications in law. Only this metal piece is the gun. It's not able to shoot by itself as is, but it has to be serialized and it has to be inventoried and California law, blah blah.
So-
but in his case, his whole suit is very dangerous.
Yes.
I mean,
but
but he could argue it's flying around and stuff. I mean, yeah, the missiles and the
Yeah, he's-
seeking guns that just totally killed
Not
like
to-
6 and 7 people, and
the first one.
yeah, that,
Yeah.
like could have started an international incident, but instead gave world peace.
He said that he's official, like he somehow privatized world peace. I'm not sure what that means.
Well, he's no government, so as a private person or
Pri-
as a
private entity?
contractor, as a
The-
yeah. So instead of having governments determine together world peace, he did it himself, like as if
I'm
you
curious.
leave him alone and people take care of it. It's the
Like,
argument.
um,
Laissez-faire.
in the first Iron Man, when you see him take out his own weapons, because that's what his mission was in the first one.
Yeah.
That's the only time I think ever you actually see him go out on a mission of his own. Granted, these are movies. They don't need to be like.
That's true.
Like, he says, like, I've been doing this for 6 months, guys. Saving the day. You know, he doesn't actually say that, but the implication is that when he says the, excuse me, the privatized peace line is that he's been doing stuff. He's been taking out bad guys. Presumably terrorists.
And the newspaper exposition said that the Eastern-Western relations are at an all-time
Low.
nice.
Yep, an all-time nice.
All-time nice.
An all-time smiley face.
And as long as he does a really cool fly-in and lands in the hero pose. It was pretty... I mean, it was fun when he landed and there's like a giant party and there's fireworks and junk.
He was in a suit.
Well, yeah.
He was wearing a suit in his suit.
Of course he was.
I know, I get it, but also wrinkles, man.
Well,
Maybe
insert magic technology
No.
here?
I got it. He has an iron in his Iron Man costume.
I mean, really, if his shirt is wrinkly, what does that speak about Iron Man?
You're right.
Wow, that's the dumbest.
You know what? In that world, that's probably the equivalent of the Elon Musk memes. They probably have, come on, man. You're Iron Man. Get on top of this. Get a better shirt. You know?
Oh man, when all the memes came out for Elon Musk. Anyway,
Yes.
I think the development of all the different villains were also spread thin. Like, this movie was trying to do a lot of things, and it did most of them pretty well because Robert Downey Jr. held it all together, along with a little bit of Scarlett Johansson introducing herself as a character, not really keeping the movie together, rather being a part of the universe connection pieces.
Yes, this movie, many people, I've seen several, like 2 people I've specifically listened to.
Many too. Go
Yeah,
on.
but online, and they say that this movie kind of only exists to promote the Avengers, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, to build that up. Because, granted, there were several things. One, they talk about the Stark Expo, which comes back in the first Avenger, because it's the 40s. And,
That's fun.
yep. And, I haven't really said what I think about this movie other than I think it's pretty good. But yeah, like the villains, this is another thing. These Marvel, everyone criticizes the villains and how they're not good, not really developed. And that's a fair thing. But you don't always need a good villain. It's nice to have one. But it doesn't make or break a movie for me. Like, we all love Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Can you even remember do you remember the name of the bad guy in that movie?
I definitely remember what he looks like. There's an R, I want to say,
You're right.
not the Riders of Rohan.
Oh, you're close.
It's very, very close to that,
You're
though.
close.
Um,
It's Ronan.
Ronan. See, I was right there.
Yep. He's also
Conan, but with an R.
Yep, Ronan.
Ronan, the barbarian.
Yes. Anyway, but yeah,
But
You got-
really, the point is,
Like,
villains do not have to be
Villains
great
don't
to make a good movie.
Villains don't make the movie, regardless if it's a superhero movie or not. You can be James Bond, even though I've never seen a James Bond movie.
You've never seen any James Bond?
I don't care about spy movies. I don't care about the Bourne franchise. I don't care about
Bourne
Mission.
is
I don't
like
care about
shaky
Mission.
cam
I don't care about Mission
spy.
Impossible. I don't care
Whoa.
about. Shush.
Okay.
Question.
Well, I'm glad
Okay.
you're committed to the Marvel, but
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Another thing. What's the plot of 4? What's the
I
plot of
haven't seen
Mission
those.
Impossible 4?
Oh, Mission Impossible 4.
Do you even know?
It takes some time because I've got to sift through the other ones. They're all so similar.
Exactly.
This-
They're all the same. They're
In
all
the
about taking down the
third one,
terrorists.
I totally remember the third one really vividly because it had a super strong opening and talked a lot about how he could lip read. The fourth one, he is climbing on a wall on the outside of a building with like suction cups.
You're remembering action pieces. What's the plot?
There was a bomb, and he
Of course,
said,
there was the bomb, everybody.
"Mission accomplished," and hit the button, and he missed. It was really funny. That's about it.
Okay, great.
Brad Bird.
We've established that
Tom
no one
Bird?
can remember these movies.
Brad Bird directed the movie, I think.
I think
There's a weird
Yes.
following
Anyway.
plot. Anyway, that's I don't have a ton.
for the most
I don't have a
part, I
ton.
don't care about spy movies. So, yeah, villains don't make or break the movie. They can actually make the movie, but they definitely don't have to be something that brings down the movie in any way.
I mean, lots of movies don't even have any villain. Like, you don't even need a real villain
Okay,
in the first Iron Man to make that movie good.
you're right, but guess what?
You don't
It had a
need
villain.
Warmonger at all. You could have done that movie without that piece, and it would have been just as good.
Well, the thing is, this is something else I've heard that
I mean,
every superhero movie thinks that they have to be action movies. You know, they always think they have to be that, and you know that's a fair assumption. You know, like, but they always think that action has to be the main focus. You know,
yeah. I mean, and this one
like not.
had very little action, and so it didn't hit the marks that other movies expected, so people dismiss it as not as good of a movie when it does have a lot of good things.
Yeah, it has merit, honestly, much more than an Incredible Hulk.
I have to talk about one of those moments. He's driving down the road and he gets the strawberries,
Yes.
and he brings those to Pepper.
That
That whole interaction was just a treat, because you come into the office
Like,
and you sit down and he's sitting in front of this weird spinny thingy.
it's
And he's
okay.
like, "Hey, can I move this? This thing is awful." And you're
Please.
like, "Hey, that is awful." And you just really enjoy his character and her character and what's been going on in the movie, and the strawberries that he remembered something about her.
Like, he said,
but
like-
not that she was allergic to them.
Yeah,
And so
she
it was a
said-
terrible idea for a gift.
Yeah, because he said, like, I knew there was some connection. I knew there was a connection there. That proves I love you. He didn't say that, but yeah, I had a lot of positives in this movie. Like, but yeah, I haven't really touched on the I guess the term would be world building or Avengers exposition.
I feel like it was about half the movie was dedicated
really?
to Avengers.
I feel
mean,
like any scene with Coulson or Nick Fury, that was when
Coulson and definitely, and really anything with Natasha in it,
I
with
guess.
Scarlett Johansson, her whole character was a tie-in to the universe. Plus, really, they said you have to get your act together, and the ending of the movie also was Avengers, 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 rah rah rah.
Yeah, there was this.
Oh, Iron Man's good for the Avengers, but not Tony Stark. You're like, okay, that's fun. I had a good
like
time.
Another thing that when I first saw this movie, I didn't know why Nick Fury was there. I didn't know who this guy was with the eye patch. I didn't know why this person was here. What's his significance? If only I'd stayed for that first end credit scene, I would have known.
It was actually a great end credit scene. I think it was one of the best.
I was talking about the first Iron Man, but yeah, the Thor.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant this one. This end credit scene was really, really great because it connected to the movie. Coulson said, "Oh, I've got to go to Arizona. I've got some business." And then you see him get there, and it's this tie-in to the next movie. You're like, "Oh, I see all the connections. It makes sense. It connects to the next movie." There's a lot of value added by that cutscene.
I believe, I'm not sure if it's on the digital version on like iTunes or anything, but on the Blu-ray for Thor, I think it has just off the top of my head, it actually has one of those Marvel one-shots, those little short movies. It's called like Coulson's Big Trip or something, where he's driving to Arizona. More specifically, he goes to a gas station, he takes out some muggers there.
Oh, okay.
And it's like I don't know. I don't know anything about what he grabs to defend himself, but I'd like to think he grabs some Pringles cans.
Oh my goodness.
And
So-
some hot sauce, poured them in their eyes.
I'm not super good at this timeline thing, but when did Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. come out?
2013.
Was it? So that's way after all of this.
Yes, way after he dies.
Hey. I think, isn't that crucial to the plot of the show?
Of Avengers.
Of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Avengers.
He dies in Avengers, but then it comes back. He literally comes back to life.
Yeah, that was the whole plot.
Like, if
Wasn't
you
that he actually had died and
If
they brought him back.
if for whatever
and
reason
some
if
weirdness.
for whatever reason you haven't seen the first season of Agents of Shield, which I get it, it's long.
Oh, it's so long.
I know, but I think they're winding down. I don't know.
They say after that first season it actually picks up, but I just don't know if I could jump into season 2.
It gets
or
interesting
do I
when
have to
it
watch-
gets interesting when the Hydra thing becomes there.
Yeah,
Because
everyone
then
talks about that.
then in that show, one of the main guys you follow, he's Hydra. So that's cool. But in that show, brief tangent about Coulson, they had this really weird, kind of creepy looking machine where it was kept zapping, like they sawed off the scalp.
This is Agent of Shield,
Yes.
Coulson,
Yeah.
after he dies.
Like this is and the thing is in the show also spoilers. I
for
think
the first Avengers or for Agents of Shield?
Agents of Shield.
Okay.
In that movie show, they have this machine that keeps zapping his brain. Like you can actually see brain. It's kind of it's
gross.
ABC. It's ABC CGI, but still, I think it's weird and freaky because he kept in the entire episode. He was like, "I remember something, but what is it?" Eventually, he remembered this machine that is bringing him back to life. Keeps zapping his brain,
Wow.
and it's like, "Please let me die. Just let me die." And
That's creepy and weird.
it was, and
So,
but yeah,
they can bring Coulson back to life, but they can't fix Nick Fury's eye. What
I think
happened to his eye? I guess we'll find out.
in
the
Captain Marvel, yep, baby, I can guarantee you that is what it will be.
The whole point of the movie is to have Nick Fury lose his eye.
Yep,
Interestingly,
by the alien cat. I'm calling it now.
oh my goodness, I really hope that works out.
Well, the thing is, in the comics, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, has a cat that is an alien.
Well, sure, but there's a lot of it anyway.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, this movie.
So, Iron Man 2, I have to say the end, so bad guy builds drones,
Yep.
right? Because he knows everything about making robots. Because,
With a Roger heads.
well, the thing is, it makes no sense that he could make these robots. I know he's this genius hacker man and also a genius physicist.
Because the writer wrote him that way.
Pretty much they said, oh, he's a offbeat. He's like what Tony Stark would have been if he had been deported. His dad had been deported.
As if he was a Russian man.
I'm just saying, as if. So, he makes these robots that make no sense, that are remote or computer controlled, and then he also builds his own suit,
Sort of.
and he also
With what time? How
hacks-
long did it take
he
him?
also hacks into Iron Man's War Machine suit.
Yes, War Machine.
I don't know how he does that. I know, it's when they added the weapons.
Yep.
Okay, never mind. So he hacks into all the things, and he decides to show how evil the Starks are by having a different company go around and blow things up. That'll show Tony what it's like.
You know what? I think
Like, that part didn't
I
make
ne-
a ton of sense.
I never really thought of this movie, but considering what the ex-wife did, the weapon, the weapon, the ex-wife in the movie, it was just like a little poof of nothingness. I consider, I think Hammer Tech in universe, I have no evidence to back this up, but I feel like it's a B Tech or a B Tech
It's kinda
version.
like the Acme version of weapons.
No, I feel like it's a rip-off version of Tony Stark.
Oh, I see. I
Like-
mean, that's kind of how the movie played him out anyway.
Yeah, he
right?
was like a discount Tony Stark. Like, hey, I'm cool too, but I'm just a pompous dum-dum.
Windbag is also,
Windbag.
Although he's not really windbag. My favorite scene with Justin
Hammer.
Hammer is the bird scene. He's like, "Oh, you like this bird? Oh, take the bird.
Put the bird in a bag. Just leave him
Do you
there.
see how it feels when the bird is in the bag? Do you feel
That-
bad when people take your things?"
And take your shoes.
Yeah, it was so
Took his shoes and
weird.
pillows. Like, first off, I believe he lost. Like, if you look closely, I think you see him lose those shoes on the racetrack.
Oh my goodness, he did lose a shoe, but it was very standard issue boot.
You're right. But
Anyway.
how many standard issue boots are there?
I don't know.
from Russia.
So, I love that scene, but he's very much just evil businessman trope, which I'm okay with.
But like he has, I don't understand why. I think he wants to. I don't know what he wants.
No, he just wants to. Well, he did say once his goal is to be in the working for the Pentagon for the next 25 years. He just wants his contract to succeed. He's just a contractor who wants to work for the government. Yes, he uses evil means to get there.
He could be in any of the Transformers movies.
Oh yeah, I mean he's pretty much.
He's basically everyone in those movies. Like
What's his name?
Which one?
Which
movie?
Balding guy, the Beats Pill thing.
The Beats Pill. Oh, the Beats. Yeah, the Pill.
The Pill.
We're talking about the fourth one. If you don't remember,
whatever that actor's name is.
Yeah, I have no idea.
They did a parody of Gucci Gang about him. Tucci. Dang it! I'm close. I'm very, very close.
Anyway, question: how many of you listening remember Gucci Gang?
Well, it's one of the greatest songs of our generation.
What about 50 years from now when people are still listening to this podcast?
They'll be like, remember 50 years ago, people used to listen to stupid songs like this. Actually, no one will remember the bad ones. They'll only talk about like the greatest songs of our era, and they'll be like, oh, music is so much better back then. Oh, music is terrible these days. Anyway.
I want people to look back at Gucci Gang with fondness.
Yeah, it'll be fun. But, so, villain hacks thing, makes thing, they fight. And then they have like a 30-second fight. It ends all in pitch black night because they don't have the budget to do this thing.
No, I don't know what it was. I think it might have been a weird creative choice where I don't know.
I mean, I know you want to see the contrast of the light and the dark and the
weirdly enough, the quote.
They watched the Hulk and they said, "Ooh, no thanks."
Ooh, I wouldn't do that. Because
they did have a night battle also, right?
Yeah, no day battles, unfortunately.
In the Hulk, they had the day battle. The cop scene was amazing.
No, I'm referring to this movie.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's
the movie we're supposed to be talking about.
That's true.
So many tangents in this one so far.
Well, I think so far, I mean, it is a shorthand. You can cut corners on the CGI lighting and shading and all that stuff.
Yeah, I get that.
It's way harder to do textures back then than they are now. They have way more advanced engines for this kind of stuff.
I understand that it's currently 2019, but it's 2010. It wasn't that terrible of a time for CGI.
Well, compared to...
Especially when you're not dealing with humans.
Compared to, 15 years before, but you know what I'm saying?
It wasn't 15 years ago.
I'm saying 15 years before that, like when Toy Story came out or whatever.
Yeah, that looked so unrealistic. I don't know why.
They don't even look alive.
I can't believe they don't even have scratch marks or crayons.
I know, and nowadays their textures are like...
I feel
like I could go inside of their plastic for infinity. Like there's so much texture and depth. It's dumb.
I feel like we should rename this podcast to what it currently is, but with the subtitle, There Will Be Tangents.
I'm on board. Well, I think that's a fair warning, because we are very tangential.
Tangent heavy.
Tangent heavy, yes.
Yes. Anyway, but yeah, this...
So, yeah, the night thing,
Yeah, and the really weird scene about that, one, it's beyond underwhelming.
It's so abrupt.
Yeah, it is like less than a minute, I think, like the actual fighting.
He shows up and you're like, oh, the whips. Oh, he's in a suit now this time. It's gonna be crazy. It's way shorter.
Also, his villain name, Whiplash.
Was it actually?
Yes, it is. It's actually Whiplash.
Kind of bummed we didn't even hear it.
Yeah. Not even like a...
Did anyone even say the word
Whiplash? I don't think. It would have been a perfect thing.
How hard is that?
Like, you're gonna get whiplash or something.
Yeah, I mean...
He could have...
Favreau.
Tony Stark...
Favreau?
Jon Favreau.
Favreau could have said that when he... Like, after they got away,
he
ran his car into him.
He's like, better get
whiplash.
That would have been great.
1 second. Whatever.
But yeah.
Their names are always dumb in these shows.
That's
what I think.
If you couldn't have heard, he tooted.
A toot. I like how we say that. I I say that around my 2-year-old. So our vocab.
Yes, that is what. Forgive us. He made a flatulence.
That's how a regular humans talk. Elon Musk reminds me of that. He's very alien sometimes. It's like, is this what humans talk like? I will talk like
No, you're
this.
confusing Elon Musk with Mark Zuckerberg.
Well, they're both are aliens.
Alien robots. Which is it? Alien, robot, lizardman?
I'm
You decide on the Twitter poll. We don't have a Twitter. Yeah, I think we've said as much as we've...
As is possible to say about this movie. The fight scene between the two Iron Man suits, I think, is clearly the climax, the pinnacle of the fighting in the movie.
Yeah, the part where...
And the music is so choppy. It really was distracting to me.
The actual movie music made for the movie, or the music...
No, they played...
Or the licensed music.
They played Another One Bites the Dust, and then they played...
the song you were waiting for.
Well, Robot Rock, which was the end of it, but there was 2 songs in the middle.
I don't think
and they
there
just
was.
Jumped. Yes, they did. There was oh, come on, something about Takes Two, not the cheesy It Takes Two, baby, but there's another one.
Just the two of us.
Also good. God, there was something that nuts. So they jumped quite a bit between songs based on what room they were in. And even if that is an intentional choice,
my favorite part was
very choppy.
Yeah, I mean, now I just got that Daft Punk song in my head.
Robot Rock.
Did that sound anything like
I
it?
feel like I'm at a concert right now.
Oh yeah, you're right with the Robot Men. But yeah, I really like that scene. Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Boyd?
Bring my Boyd. That's my straight accent. Boyd.
Your straight accent? What are you implying?
No. Like me saying it as if I had an accent, but I don't. How do you say bird?
Boyd. I want my
I just can't do it.
I want my Boyd.
Yeah. Just anyway.
So
I think that's a good place to leave it. Let's get at some final thoughts here and reviews. Let's hear yours first, Michael.
Kind of what I said at the beginning. I think this movie is overhated. I don't think people. I don't think this.
I've heard that before, but it just never clicked.
I don't think this movie. Okay. I don't think the movie is as hated now. I think people just think, ugh, not Iron Man 2. This is so dull.
Now you have a million movies, so it's kind of forgotten.
As of this recording, 20 in total.
Wow.
Captain Marvel is 21st. Anyway, but yeah, so far I think the movie is pretty. This movie is pretty good. Could have used. I don't know how to improve this movie, honestly, because I think everything with Tony Stark works.
Yeah, I think I would have liked the story to be a little smaller. I think the connection to the stuff in Thor.
Yeah, maybe.
Just give me a second after credits scene like they do later.
Yeah,
and just cut out half of that extra conversation junk.
Honestly,
because
I think that. You're right. It could have been smaller. Maybe it could have been it could have just been about him, his alcoholism, and his relationships, and also the fact that he was dying. You know, maybe that could have been just it.
Yeah, I want it to be more personal.
That could have been something.
Well,
it might have been. Because I feel like everything with the. I hesitate to say villains because they are. You barely remember them, they're so forgettable. But yeah, I really like this movie. I think it's actually worth a watch if you haven't seen it or you haven't seen it in a while. Yeah, and I give this 7 boards out of 10.
Wow, I think I'm gonna go a little more simple on my rating system on this one.
Hold on, before you go.
Yeah.
if anyone's confused on my ratings so far, let me just say, the number and whatever thing I choose to say out of 10, that's mostly for comedic effect. I hope the way I've explained it is enough for you. So,
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the goal. I mean, for me, I'm going to give this 2 Iron Man out of 3. Because
2 out of 3?
I'm just saying.
That's
there's
ridiculous.
Only 3 Iron Man movies, and I feel like the first one is way better than this one.
That's for most people. That's a fair statement.
I mean, I liked this movie. I had a great time. The triangle suit at the end was cool. The War Machine thing was cool. There were a lot of coolness that we get after.
Also,
like we get to take this stuff with us.
Also, Stan Lee is Larry King.
Yeah, but
in this universe, Stan Lee is Larry King, people.
But the things that are left behind in the movie that keep it unique from the other pieces aren't as good, and so, what does that lead to? Like a 6.5, a 6.5 out of 10. So just a little bit under yours.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
So what's next?
Next is Thor.
That's it.
Yep, just Thor.
No, Dark World, no Ragnarok, no
Ragnarok,
no
Nagnarodo,
the best Hemsworth, none of that.
Liam.
Liam Hemsworth.
Is that not his name?
Isn't there another brother as well?
I believe so.
Poor third brother.
I think there was an estimate.
Thor, poor third Hemsworth.
Thor. Next week. Well, as we continue the road to Endgame.